You're listening to Talkin, the Making Men Great Again podcast. Your home of accountability, encouragement, information and motivation. Providing men with the content and community needed to thrive and achieve greatness. I'm your host Tommy, and I'm joined as always by my close friend, brother and co-host Sam. And in this episode, we're joined by a very special guest, joining us for a very special conversation. It's our absolute pleasure to welcome our dear friend, John Aspey, onto the show. John is a husband, father, friend, British military veteran, ex-police officer, musician, songwriter, former semi-professional footballer, and despite describing himself as ordinary, John is a perfect example of how an ordinary man can be a great man. And in this episode, we'll talk about how to achieve a successful marriage and speak about John's marriage of 36 years to his wife. We'll talk about fatherhood and the importance of the family unit, talk about a life well lived and without regrets, and we'll explore John's secrets as he continues to be fit and thrive at 60 years old. John, thank you for joining us, mate. It's our absolute pleasure to have you on the show this evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Welcome, John.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, just getting older. Never wiser, but older.
Well, John, we can see you here, and the people listening can't. So you've always looked 30 to us, even though you're in. I'm not going to say your age, but there you go. You look well anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep taking the Peter Pan pills. That's what the thing is.
We always did joke and say it's the curious case of John Aspey rather than Benjamin Button. He seems to age back. He seems to age backwards.
It is true. It is true. It is true.
John, thanks for joining us on Thrive Talking, the Making Men Great Again podcast. As I said, it's an absolute honour and a privilege to have you join us. I think you've been a natural choice as a guest for us to have on the show. Again, being a mutual friend of both Sam and I's, and I think someone that we both have an incredible amount of respect for. When we think of examples of good men, just ordinary men who are good and are a good example of a life well lived, you're someone who always springs to mind. And I've known you personally for 14, 15 years now, and I think Sam's not far behind that. And you've been a good friend and, as I say, a good example. So we're very keen to have a conversation with you, John, and find out a little bit more about your secrets.
Or the ones who want to keep quiet.
Yeah. I think we should mention, Tommy, that the reason we know John I do through music, basically, isn't it? Because John's one of the best drummers in the world that nobody actually knows about. So we was all in a band together many moons ago.
Yeah.
So that's where the connection came about for us. But John is, like you said there, Tom, a good example of a good man, proper man, I would say. You're going to start blushing now, aren't you, John, with all these compliments I've got to give you?
If there's no makeup artist around, I'd be blushing, yeah.
No, but John is a lot older than us, but he's a very, very much someone who, I'd look up to you in many ways, John, and I have done for a while. So, there's another compliment for you, but that's enough for now.
Yeah,
that's enough for now. Let's move on.
We'll never get through my door.
I know. So, John, I'll just ask you, mate, what do you think about this podcast? How do you feel about coming on?
You know what? I've never done one before, so it's a new experience, and I've listened to yours now, so I knew what you were chatting about. But it's totally different. But because we're amongst friends, I feel quite comfortable If I was on GB
that's the
News
good.
or something, I'd probably struggle. I'm not as eloquent as I'd like to be. A bit rough around the edges, and probably come out occasionally with non-politically correct comments.
Well, I know we try to keep that to a minimum, though, don't we?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to upset people
No, we don't.
as much
If we
as
don't
we'd
talk
like
about
to.
politics, we're fine.
Yeah, I know. Best to keep that out of it, innit?
So, just before we get into it properly, John, obviously, me and Sam know you quite well, as I alluded to there. We've been friends for a number of years now. We've played music together. We've enjoyed watching football together. You know, we've been up to all sorts. But just to give the listeners a little bit of background, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you'd probably describe yourself as a man?
I'd class myself probably just somebody who's ordinary. Nothing stands out about me. I'm at that age now where I've experienced life, I suppose, being just turned recently 60. But a lot of my grounding come from my dad. My dad was a Wigan lad. He basically went into all types of jobs. I think we once reckoned up that he'd been in 37 different jobs, and skilled jobs as well. When he left school, he started as a basically like a fitter turner, and just progressed around that type of industry for quite a number of years. Then he decided that he just one day he'd had enough of that and moved on to something else. But that was the time when you could do it. So it'd be probably in the 50s when you could walk from one job into another within a couple of hours without applying. Just turn up at the shop steward's door and just say, I want a job here, and if there was space, you could get one. But that's the change in environment. So my dad's grounding was, if you work hard and play hard, you'll always succeed in life. Give it your all, whatever you do. And that's, I suppose, where I get my competitive nature from as well. I went from leaving school with probably the minimum of O levels just to get me into a job. Nowadays, you have to have A levels for everything. So my grades were basically from C to B. I had no A's. But I got the basic ones, which was maths, English, history, which I absolutely love, art, geography, and that was about it. And at the age of 16, when I left school, like a lot of lads, if you play football, you want to be a footballer. And because I'd come through the ranks of Wigan Athletic at the youth level from the age of 13, and I saw all the lads who were playing in the same side as me, getting contracts like Ian McCowart and Warren Aspinall. He went on to play for Everton, so did Ian. Pip Wilson signed for Man City. Shaw Mess went to Man United, and they all got decent contracts. So even knowing if they got him into reserves, but Ian McCowart played first team football. Warren Aspinall ended up with a really good career in football. Ended up from Everton to Portsmouth after being at Latics. Whereas I didn't get picked up. Brian Hamilton said, right, you're not big enough, you're not good enough, but I'll send you down to Maxfield, to my mate, Sammy McElroy. So I went down there with my dad, had 2 trial events with them, 2 games, which I didn't play particularly well, but I was put on the wrong side. I was right-footed predominantly, was put on the left. So I didn't make any mark. And he just said, no, you're not going to be a footballer. So my dad said, right, you're going to have to knuckle down and find something else to do. So I applied for, like most lads did at my time, with Wigan Council, which they was going to take me on. I was going to be apprentice joiner. And it was then I got another application come through, which was the Army. So I went for my interviews, passed that, and they gave me a start date, which was actually 2 weeks before the Wigan Council plumbing job. And I didn't actually know what to do, so I chatted with my dad, and he said, well, if you want to gain life experience, he'd done national service, he said, the Army's for you. So at 16 years old, just before my 17th birthday, which was August 1982, going back sometime before you were born, I joined the Royal Engineers. I did 12 years in the Royal Engineers. I become a surveyor engineer by trade, which I didn't really enjoy, but I did the first 6 years as a comm engineer, travelled all over the world, from Canada, Belize, Falklands, Germany, Denmark, and then I decided a total different career change, but still in the Royal Engineers, and I thought the excitement and thrill, I would go for bomb disposal. So I did 6 years bomb disposal, where I become a specialist in high risk search, which basically means that wherever the government went or the royal family went, I would be in tow doing all the searches prior to their wherever they were going in the world. So I did embassies in Germany and Berlin and Gibraltar, Spain, America, everywhere like that.
It all but confirms our theory, John, that you're actually a secret agent.
No. I'd like to say what I did in the last 6 years, but obviously I can't because I'm still on the Official Secrets Act until I pass away. Oh, yeah. And that's true. That I can't actually say anything regarding what I actually did. I mean, the bomb disposal side, you still do that. So I was obviously trained to do ammunitions, which you see in Northern Ireland, and booby trap type of ammunitions, what you see in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I was trained for that as well. Fortunately, I never actually went out and actually did it live. The closest I would have got was when Bosnia come along to United Nations. But it was the time that, I'd already got married, and Diane was pregnant, and I was going to be flown out to Bosnia. But because Diane went into labour, I was alphabetically Aspey, top of the list, so I was going out. So they took the bottom of the list with a lad called Bernie Warburton replaced me. He went out to Bosnia, but unfortunately he didn't come back. He was killed with a booby trap out in Bosnia. So I thank the lucky stars that wasn't me. But I still mourn the fact that a good friend of mine, obviously, was killed in line of duty, really, on tour, having taken my place. And I go to his memorial every 5 years with the same lads. And we still talk about that. And it's one of the things what crops up, that Bernie replaced me and didn't come back. But at the end of my army career, it wasn't a solemn moment or anything like that. But I'm glad I got out when I did, because obviously the Iraq War come along, and then followed by Afghanistan, which is obviously far more dangerous than even the Iraq War. I still went through all the training for Iraq, and we were going to get sent out there. In fact, I was one of the first on the list as part of the EOD teams, but they decided that they couldn't afford to let myself and a few other full screws corporals because there was nobody to replace us on the high risk training side. And obviously with the royal family at the time, there was a lot of interest with terrorism, stuff like that. So they just couldn't let us go for the high research. So they brought in a brand new squadron, and they trained them up, and they went out to Iraq, and we stayed in UK. So I must be one of the only military who served 12 years in the army and got one medal, and that was the Queen's Jubilee medal. I never actually got any medals for any conflicts, which is quite unusual, really, for somebody who served as long as me. But there you go. But when I got to the stage where I'd come to the end of the 12-year point, and it was either stay in and do 25 years, which is what a lot of people decide to do. You make a full military career and then retire at the end of the 25 years. Whereas I just got itchy feet and wanted to try something else. So I applied for the fire service and the police. And I went up for interviews in Lancashire, passed my medical, passed the aptitude test, which was very difficult because you spend a full day doing that. And then you come back, if you pass your theory test and your practical tests, you go back and then you do a 40, 50-minute interview with the chief constable. Well, man, I actually was the chief assistant at the time. And I passed that, and then they give me a start date. But I was still in the army then, and I hadn't given my basically, when you're leaving the army, you've got to initiate and give notification, and that was like 6 months. So I went having done all this at weekends, and I booked like a leave off to do the interviews and tests, everything. I come back and I told my staff assistant, he called me into his office and said, "You've just got your substantive rank to sergeant, and you're going to posted in Germany in Osnabrück. However, your wife will have to go out there first to take over the army quarter, and you'll be going to do your sergeant's training at Brompton Barracks in Kent." And I think I sat with my wife Diane. Obviously, we just had a young girl, Lauren, and it was a decided career. I'd stay in or get out, and we decided that we'd want to bring her up out of the army environment and come back to a base in the Wigan area. At the time, Lancashire, when they were recruiting, you had to live in the Lancashire area rather than GMP and travelling. You had to live in Lancashire, so I had to buy a house in Leyland and decided that, right, that was it. I was going to come out and go into the police. So I was doing all
John,
straight from the army, finished the army on the Friday and started on the Monday in the police.
You've covered a lot of ground there, John, and obviously it's one of the reasons we wanted you on, because you're a man of so much experience, and you've had a fascinating career, both sort of in work and outside of work. But just backtracking a little bit there, because I didn't want to forget, and a couple of things that you said there that I really wanted to ask you a little bit more on. So, first of all, you described yourself as an ordinary man, and that's one of the things that we really wanted to do differently on this podcast from most podcasts. The guests that they have on, or the different speakers that they have on, the celebrities, the influencers, the people who you can't really relate to, who ordinary men and boys can't relate to. We wanted to get ordinary men on, who have had success in their life, who have been a good example, to share their experience. So that, I think that's fantastic that you actually described yourself as ordinary, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And then following on from that, you mentioned your dad obviously being where you got your grounding from, and sort of your worth ethic, and that's something again that we've spoken about, is the importance of having good father figures in our life, good male role models. And for those of us that are fathers, and the three of us here tonight in this conversation are all fathers, albeit at different stages of fatherhood, how important it is for us to be good role models to our children as well.
Yeah, like I say, I suppose my career is not really varied. A lot of you find a lot of military lads, certainly when at my age, when I was getting out, were heading towards either the fire brigade or going into the police or something similar. But more, I think it's the uniformity, it's the regimented style of policing and the uniform. It just goes hand in hand from that type of background of military. You're disciplined. You see things on the street what probably other people don't do. And then when I went into the police, I joined an intake where it was the first time ever that the intake was actually more female than male. It was the first time it had happened in Lancashire. It was always, the recruitment side was always like male positive to female, but we were outnumbered. It was just the way that's the way the police wanted to go. They wanted to get more females into the police at the time. And when I joined, I'd come from a military background, so I was able to march, salute, whereas a lot of them, had come straight from college and universities. They had no background. A lot of them weren't married, didn't have kids. So it was a bit of a shock culture for them to go into the police, whereas I just found it so natural that I hit the ground running, and I just seemed to take to it like that. I was out with trainers, and when you do your probation, I was let loose after probably 3 months to go out and arrest people as soon as I got my warrant card. Was some that take 6 months before they were probationers, and they don't take a front step. Was I wanted to lock up, interview straight away. So I have to admit, I really enjoyed the police because it was always positive for me. A lot of these things, what you see on television, is quite negative now, but for me, it was always a positive. Initially, you feel like a fish in a goldfish bowl because everybody's looking at you, and you're in a uniform, and everybody expects you to know all the law and what to do at the right time when you go to an incident. Whereas you don't. You generally don't know all the law because you're still learning, and you're not quite sure of what you can say or do. But I just found it easy and natural to relate to people and speak to people. And when it comes to arresting, I just wanted to get hands-on. And my career path within the police was foot patrol first, which you don't find many police tend to do nowadays. And then as soon as I got my police licence, you go out on patrol, and I absolutely loved it. I loved being out on patrol. It got to the point where I started at Preston, moved to Bamber Bridge, and then I found more of a home in Leyland. Even though I initially lived there, I moved away to Wigan, so I wasn't actually living in Leyland area. But my experience was I was with lads who wanted to get hands-on and arrest, and it just made you more competitive. So you wanted to try and get as many arrests as you could in the year. And I had a lad with me who, for a number of years, and I'll mention his name because he was an excellent police officer, Phil Grover. He tried to break 100 arrests every year. So with that in mind, I tried to do the same. And there's funny moments within the police that, I mean, when your superintendent of your police station calls you into an office and said, I just want to give you a pat on the back, you're doing really well. And I said, why is that? He said, well, it's come to my attention that you have your surname sprayed at the back of a housing estate on a wall which is 30 foot high. Aspey is a bastard. And I thought, well, I must be doing something right because I was locking up for England at the time. So he even said to me, he said, if you're getting that type of reputation, then you're obviously doing well. And I looked at your stats, and he said, you make so many arrests, and they all go to court, which is a good thing. So they're not getting released on rubbish; they're actually going to court and getting convictions, which is a good thing. He said, why don't you think about going operational support unit? You'd be suited to there. You're in a team like you've come from within the army, and that's the type of thing. And I took his word for that, and I thought to myself, I still want to do other things though before I did that. So naturally, I applied for the firearms. And I think it was 5 years into my service, I went on the firearms team, which I enjoyed initially, but then you realise that you do a lot of licence visits to farms and things like that, and it's not as active. And what you see on television, when you see MI5 running around with guns and everything, you go to occasional ones where you're fully kitted up, and the only time I felt like I was a real firearms officer when I went to the conference at Blackpool twice, when once I was sat on top of a roof with a sniper, just doing his spotting for him. But you start to carry your full regalia. You had your Glock with you on your side and your Click-Up rifle, and you was in the full gear with helmet on, everything. And you felt, quite wary at the time, especially when you see other people looking towards you. You think, oh my God, he's a firearms officer. But I think the novelty wore off after 18 and 19th months, and I thought, well, my natural progression is I'll do what the super said and have a go at sport units, and that I absolutely loved. Support unit suited me down to ground in a van with 6 or 7 lads and lasses, and you go out and you smash doors in and you lock up drug dealers on a regular basis. You had a bit more freedom, and I absolutely loved it, getting involved in all that. Plus, you deal with all football matches. So everywhere that we went was Blackburn, Burnley, Preston, even down to Little Accrington as well. So wherever there was a bit of trouble, come to say, or anything like the Blackburn Celtic game, it was phenomenal, and I could tell loads more about support unit things what went on. But that's the way I went, and I think when I was coming towards the end of my time in the police, people say, "Why don't you go for a sergeant's exam?" But I never wanted to do that, because when you were a sergeant, you was dealing more with stuff on the computers and not actually hands-on.
Yeah.
You take a more of a backward step. Support unit is slightly different. The sergeants do get hands-on as well, especially when you're doing riot training and stuff like that, which I loved doing. Every 7 weeks we did the riot training, which was fantastic at headquarters. They throw petrol bombs at you, and you're just doing the training what you see on television, which was great, and you get to do all the physical stuff. Putting doors in, which you train on rigs. We put doors up, plastic doors up, and you hit them, and you get to learn different techniques, and you learn in different equipments. What can expand doors and bust them open with hydraulics. So all that side I loved, but I thought at one point I'll try CID, and I studied for about 6 months to pass my CID exam, and I scraped in by 1 mark, so I got in on the bottom percentage of the CID. But I thought I'd give it a go, but it wasn't for me. I went on Charlie's CID team, and I think I lasted less than 6 months, and I got a swap back to support unit, and I finished my career in police on support unit. CID wasn't for me, dealing with frauds and rapes and not getting hands on. You wasn't actually locking up. You were dealing with people who'd been locked up and were in the cells, and you were just going interviewing, and it worked for me, that. But the police was a brilliant career. And then I ended up at Wigan Hospital, where I met you two, and going from high pressure and coming on with headaches and, working long hours to doing really very, very limited work and no taxing at all. Being a port.
No stress.
No stress, no nothing like that. And I think when you get to a certain age in life, that's what you want. You just bread and butter, come home, and then you've got the evening to yourself and weekends off. And as you know, my weekends off are taken up with playing in a band now, which I still love doing every weekend.
It's been great listening to you speak so passionately about your time in the police, John. And I know Sam's got a question for you now, but just beforehand, I was curious to get your thoughts on. Did you, when you was in the police force, did you consciously think that you were serving the public, and did you take pride in the fact that you was?
For me, no. I look at the police service slightly different than obviously what you see on social media, and when you see police officers on the streets now with man buns and long hair and loads of earrings, and I just think the discipline side of what I'd been used to is not quite there now. They're probably the same, boys and girls who serve there want to do it to the best of their ability, but I think the hierarchy have a different scheme within the police force. They don't let the officers do what they're supposed to be doing. You see it now that they're monitoring social media more than ever. They're not actually out doing what I would say is the bread and butter is stop searching. It's stop searching people all the time, turning them over, because that's where you get, one, intelligence. Two, you get to know the public that you're working for. Either they tell you information, or so you know who's the bad end. Plus, I think the stereotypical aspect of you know who looks like a drug dealer, you know who's a smackhead walking down the street, and you turn them over. I think that's been knocked out of the police at the moment, because nowadays, if I was say for example, I was working in Leyland, there was 3 black lads who lived in Leyland who were criminals, so they get turned over a lot more. But now if I was doing that on a regular basis, I would be deemed to be racist because I'd be stopped searching black people all the time. Because on the ethic chart, why is John Aspey, PC, stopping black lads 50 times more than the white person? But the white people are not not criminals, but they are, if you see what I mean. So I think that a lot of the side of it now is the officers don't stop people now because of the repercussions of being classed as racist and put on report for things like that. Whereas before, that never used to happen. It was just black or white. If they were a criminal, they got stopped. If they were white and they were a criminal, they get stopped. Don't differentiate. You target criminals, but you can't anymore.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because, like you said, John, I think today a lot of people have lost respect for the police, and it's probably problems with the hierarchy, like you've just said. Whereas,
definitely, it's a concept what's obviously changed over the years, and I think having been to Burnley riots and been involved with that side of it, and going over to communities where I wasn't really used to it, as in Darwin, Nelson, Blackburn, and obviously Burnley, which was split in half with the Asian community and the white community at loggerheads with each other. Obviously, Burnley riots happened, and there was obviously fire bombings at white pubs, and there was attacks in mosques and everything, and we got told to go in and try and keep a lid on it. But when you turn in people over and you stop people and stop searching, I just remember one distinctive thing which happened in Nelson. I stopped, which I didn't know at the time, an Asian gentleman, and we had to ask what ethnicity they were. And I just turned him up because he was in a darkened area. We had stuff up in his jacket. He actually, in the end, when we switched him, he was doing not a lot, but he was Indian. And when you get their side of the story, because the Indian community don't like the Pakistani community, for whatever reason, it goes from back when the whole country was India before it split to Pakistan. You realise that the two different backgrounds absolutely hate each other, and it is a known fact. They just do really hate each other as a religion, as well. You Sikhs and the Hindus don't like Muslims, and it's vice versa. The Muslim is one of the reasons why they split, because the Indian hierarchy, which obviously, when we was a British Empire, the Indian hierarchy was higher than the Muslim hierarchy. So they always were the Indian would be looking down on the Pakistani, and it wasn't until the country split up, obviously, when it did split up, then the rivals still remained. I mean, there's still a war zone in the Khyber Pass. People don't realise they still take pot shots at each other, even though there's been, peace in that area for a long time. The Khyber Pass still has a lot of resentment between both ethnicities, really, in both countries, India and Pakistan. That's why it'll never, ever amalgamate, ever. That country will never, ever be whole again. But, I mean, I'm going off topic there regarding, obviously, religion. But it was an eye-opener for me, obviously, because, obviously, I come from a white background, and I didn't really know many Muslims or Indians at all. So it was nice to learn different things about the communities. And I ended up with an Asian sergeant who was Muslim, and he took us to mosque, and I hadn't seen that side until I was in the police later in my career. Everybody thinks, if you've got resentment against one ethnicity or another, that you're racist. It's not. It's just sometimes we're not just in life, we're not compatible with each other. It's just one of the things. People who like Scientology, you're not racist because you don't like it. It's just that you have a different view on it, and that's my people have different views about Muslim religion and Christianity. It's just one of the things. Just sometimes we're just not compatible. That's all it is down to. And it's a lot I learned in my later years It's not that I'm racist or anything like that. I just treat everybody exactly the same. But when I was in the police, to me, it was black and white, criminal, non-criminal. And I tried to serve the public as best I can. When I knew there was an offender, I tried to arrest him. Didn't matter what religion or what culture they were from or what colour or ethnicity. If they were a criminal, I used to really go for them until I could get somebody justice. That's the way I served in the police. And I think nowadays that's been taken away from the police.
Yeah.
Because they're just...
John, I feel like me and Tommy are just little kids sitting around the fire listening to our granddad with all these stories, because it's absolutely brilliant and I love it. But we got to kind of move
it's
get it, keep it going.
I understand.
It's no, we're not cutting you off or anything.
No,
it's just
no.
want to ask you various stuff. But anyway, what I want to ask you, John, is what would you say are like the main successes throughout your life so far? If you could have like sort of a highlight reel.
Highlight reel.
If I know it's a difficult question.
Tell me, not for me. I mean, I'm 60 years old now. I've been married for 36 years, and I think that it's a big thing.
That alone is
36
brilliant.
years being married, to the same woman, and I still love dearly, and I think it's a big thing when people say, "Oh God, you've been married a long time." Yeah, but if you still love somebody, it doesn't matter. Right. And my biggest success is I've raised two absolutely wonderful daughters. Lauren and Rihanna, absolutely fabulous ladies. They really are. I love them to bits. And the way I think that myself and my wife have brought them up has been the best that we can to our ability. And I look at them and now the young ladies, and I just think, I'm dead proud of them. I really am. And that to me is my biggest success. I've kept a roof over their head. I don't have a mortgage. I have a nice, comfortable house. It's not no thrills. It's it's not a palace. It's not a 4-bedroomed mansion. I have a car and I have a mortgage and I don't have debt. And to me, that's my biggest achievement, I would say. Yeah.
Good. Do you know what? I think most men who have kids will say that is probably the biggest success and achievement in life, isn't it? Because no matter what you do with your life, you've just gone through all that there, John, about serving in the police and the army. But your children are a direct reflection of you, usually, aren't they? And if they end up being good people, then your job's done, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
Like
then you can sort of enjoy your life.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier when you asked me. I mean, my dad massively influenced me. So I'd like to think that I've made my dad proud the way I've turned out. And then my daughters in years to come can say, yeah, I was really proud of my dad, the way he's brought us up. And then they can say that to their kids. And if their kids end up same as them, then that lineage is carried on, that we've done well. You know what I mean? And that's the way you should look at, you've both got kids now. And if them kids grow up to be as good as you two, then you can say, hand on heart, I've had a good life because I've brought them up to the best of my ability. And look at them now, I sit my girls on a pedestal because I love them that much, because I know they have done so well for themselves. But I hope I've influenced that, and that's the way I look at it.
I love that.
I heard someone say recently on a podcast I was listening to, I can't quite remember which one it was, but he said that, every man wants his own children to be better than him. And then, like you said, John, that sort of lineage continues. Your children then have their own children and they want them to be better, and hopefully
like you say, you always influence your kids, no matter what you try and do. It just goes into the mind of how they get it set up. So if you're a parent who doesn't really communicate with your kids, then you always see them kids are the ones who go off a wayward path. But I think if you knuckle down and look after your kids and you teach them respect more than anything, it's intolerance of other people as well. I just think if it's a good grounding, you know what I mean? Polite, respectful, and that's all you can do. You can do your best. I mean, kids will go off the rails if they want to, and they'll do bad things, but you love them, but you try to guide them in the right direction, and that's the main thing.
John, a question I really want to ask you off the back of what Sam just asked and your answer to that. Obviously, this podcast, it's literally about all things that concerns men and our ability to sort of thrive and achieve greatness and be good in our lives. And so far, it's very much in its infancy, but we've pretty much everything we've spoken about has revolved around health and fitness. But we want to delve more into relationships, and you just mentioned there about being married for 36 years, and you still love your wife Diane very much. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on achieving a successful marriage, and
oh God,
like what advice would you give?
The $1,000,000 question is how do you survive in a marriage? Every marriage has its high and low points, but it's the communication side of it. It is the main thing, and I just think that to keep a marriage successfully tight, you just have to communicate with each other. I mean, we've been married 36 years now, and the thing is, I still love her. I still think she's attractive. I know, and I give her hugs every day and kiss her, and we still chat all the time. I treat her like as a best friend. I still want to be doing things with her, and we have to have our own space. And I think that was another thing why our marriage has survived, because she knows when I got married, I love my sports and I love music, and I'd come from like playing in bands from when I was 13, and obviously I took a career break in playing music. Throughout my police career, really, I just ditched the drums and concentrated on that, but still did the sports to keep fit. But you have to have both. You have a little bit of your own space. I think that just keeps the relationship healthy, that you can both do and trust each other to do little things like that, without being on top of each other. She gives me my space to do the band, and she does her own little things. And I think that's what keeps your relationship happy. We both enjoy going on walks. We love going out on meals, holidays together. And we now, I think it's got to the age that we love going round to my oldest daughter's house, and we have like family nights. And I think that's important as well, to keep the relationship happy as well. I'd probably say that was the main thing. My wife would probably say that she's the brains of the outfit. She's a brilliant cook, which I have to admit that there's no rivalry there whatsoever. She's a brilliant cook. But yeah, I've always been good with the finances side. I've been astute regarding, savings and things like that. So I'm a bit better at that. I think you both have to have your strengths in a marriage. I think you do. Both have to have little bits of strengths, and you play off each other. But communications, I think, is the biggest thing.
And it's important to. Is it fair to say it's important to recognise each other's strengths? And I think some people are guilty sometimes of sort of competing with each other, and like you've said there, John, there's no threat. Diane's the better cook, though. You're not going to go in.
No.
Like try and outdo a sort of thing. So it's important to recognise each other's strengths and sort of honour each other. And
I think sometimes that when you meet somebody and you fall in love, it's for different quirky things. But as your relationship gets combined and you get married and you settle down, you have children, you rub off each other. It's I'm impulsive, whereas she sits back and takes everything in, and finds it difficult to choose things. And you wanted to choose something, like we go out for a meal, just pick some because I'm hungry, and and I'm more impulsive. And it's just little things like that, little quirks between each other. I'm a lot more health freak than her. I go to the gym, I play football, where she doesn't. So, but we found a mutual path down there because we got out walking instead. We tried to do go up to the lakes and do Wainwright walks, and that's her way of getting her physical side of it going. Whereas I've always been out, up until like in my 50s, where I used to go running like twice a week. Now I just go to the gym once a week and play football on Wednesdays. And we used to go to the swimming quite regular. Both of us taught me girls to swim, but I used to go every single Tuesday and Thursday religiously, and I used to keep fit with that side of it and the gym. But obviously, as you get older, you don't do as much. Because I think when you're walking around a hospital and you're doing like 9 miles a day, you get tired when you come home. It's a natural thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But health side of it is a good thing. I mean, she feeds me well, and it's healthy options. We're not microwave kings, and that's the beauty of it, is that we do eat well when we're at home together.
Good. Well, I like to hear that, John, because I'm not very successful in relationships, as you may or may not know. So, and I imagine a lot of people out there will be thinking, what is the secret to a good long relationship? And you're right, a lot of it is communication, isn't it? Like you said there, number one. If you can talk to your spouse, you're halfway there. But that goes with everything, doesn't it? Like you said in the police, 90% of that's being able to talk to people and getting on their wave level. So I'm with you on that.
Communication, it's a big plus. If you're married and you don't talk to each other, or something's not quite right and you bottle it up, that's when obviously the mental pressure becomes on. And I think nowadays it's too easy for people to get divorced. They don't give it a shot. I've had a load of relationships where they've been married 3 or 4 years and they just part company. And you say, why did you get married in the first place? Well, it was the sex or whatever it was. But when they found out about each other, one's a gambler and the other one, takes loans out for a reason and keeps it hidden from the spouse that they've got these loans and loads of debts. And when they're hiding things like that, it's not the best base for a relationship, is it? You've got to be quite open and tell each other, That's why, like I say, Di's brilliant at cooking. I was good finances, and I always give her the money to do stuff for the house and say, right, this is what we're saving for holidays. So we've always been upfront with what the incomes come into, what goes out. We both don't smoke. We've never smoked. We don't drink much. So we're compatible in that sense. I mean, regarding music, total different. Like listening to things, I love you too. She likes Doris Day. You know what I mean? That's never going to be compatible. She loves Madonna, and I like Rival Sons. Never going to be compatible music-wise. But if I want to go to a concert to watch you two, she'd come with me because it's for me. And likewise, I went to watch Madonna with her. You've just got to, you've got to compromise. I think that's overall. I would say communication and compromising with each other is our biggest strengths, myself and Diane. That's why we've been happily married for 36 years.
Going back to communication, John, it's because this is something I probably get wrong in my own relationship, and just keen to get your thoughts. How important is it? I think sometimes when our partners have a problem, naturally as men, we try and solve that problem and have an answer for it. How important is it to sometimes just listen rather than try and...
I think that's a male trait. That's the side of nature that we've developed in our brain, is that we try to be, the he-man and solve everything. And sometimes it is better to listen sometimes rather than give solutions straight away. It's what are the options? What can you take? From what you're telling me, right? These are the options, rather than I've got the solution. It's listen to what the problem is and go through it logically. Right? These are the options we've got. Maybe this is a good option, or that's a good option, and we'll try this first, try that second, and maybe go down that route rather than say, this is how we're going to solve it. And it sometimes doesn't work like that. There's always other options. Yeah.
And for me and Sam, obviously, we've both got young children, albeit in different circumstances, but you spoke about still making time for each other and doing things together. Obviously, your children are grown up now, but how did you find that balance when you was both younger, your children were still at home?
It was difficult.
Still had busy lives.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's difficult early on because I think when you're certainly when you're in the army, she was left on her own with a young child when I went away on tour. And the way she adapted is that there was other wives in the same boat as her. So she made friends, mutual friends like that. And because you're in the same boat, you tend to do things together then. So she had other wives with young children with no male around at all, no males at all in the camp. So she adapted quickly. But obviously when you come back from tour, it changes her ways of dealing with things because she got used to doing everything on her own, making her own decisions, and then obviously you come back and that took a bit of time to get used to because obviously I could be missing 6 months a year. When you go off to Belize, you go away for 6 months, so she had to adapt. But that stood her in good stead, and she always said that side of it she enjoyed because obviously it was a learning curve for her. She never had fear then of when she went out in the big wide world when we had to leave children with parents, which then she could get a job. So it was early doors. It was probably hard for her, but she adapted really well in the army environment. And obviously, when we made the decision to come out of the army, I was going to be there obviously more often, but I was going to be on shifts, and that takes a little bit of time to get used to as well, shift patterns. And by then she was working full time, so I had to take on a role more of looking after the kids when she was at work and vice versa. Picking up, coming home, getting tea ready. Which is only right, really. You split both roles.
With all that going on, John, were you still able to find time to sort of have quality time, just the two of you?
Well,
and how did you manage it?
I think a lot of it wasn't about funds. There wasn't as much money around, so for us to get out and have time to ourselves, I know it sounds simple, this, but going to the cinema was like a big thing. It was a big night for us to leave our child with a parent or a babysitter to go for one night out was a big thing. So you've got to make the most of it. You know what I mean? And it was just have to time out for yourself or go for a meal. But you always the clock watching to get back. But it was the fact that you're out, just doing something together. I mean, a lot of the time we used to just go out at weekends whenever we got time with the pram and go out for long walks, drive out, go to Southport and things like that, which is, that's part of bonding your family bubble, really. That's what you want to do with your children. It's nice, obviously, for your grandparents to come along as well. That's great as well because they get to see them as well. But most of the time, you're just you and her and the children. But any time that you can commit a bit of time to each other, you have to do it. You have to make the most of it. It just keeps you that loveness together. I don't know how you better to describe it, really. It's just nice. You're not going to be staying out nightclub or anything like that. We didn't tend to do that. A night out for us is going for a meal and maybe a couple of drinks, then back home. But that was enough. It's just it just gives you a bit of time on your own to breathe, really, when you're not talking about kids stuff. You know what I mean? You can talk about adult stuff. What's going on in the world.
Good, solid advice, John, and appreciate your answering all our questions that we're throwing at you. We've spoken about like very positive things so far, and you've given us a bit of your history, and you've spoken about your major achievements in life and your successes. Happy long marriage, raising your children, still fit. I remember meeting you in your 40s, thought you was really in good shape for your age, seeing you carry that on through your 50s, and now you've hit 16, you're still in great shape. But I'm gonna flip it now and ask you about some of the negatives. What barriers are you facing currently, if any, that are preventing you from being like the best version of John Aspey?
I think it's losing my father. That obviously impacted because my mum didn't take it too well. So I found myself then. When you get older, you realise that you then become parents for your parents. You look after them like a child would, so you're looking out for them more now. So a lot of my time now is tied up. Not, I would say tied up because that's a bad word really, but I found out myself that I go to my mum now, who's a carer for her brother who's blind and mentally handicapped, and I do a lot more for her than I've ever done when my dad was alive, because he was always there doing that. That is his role as a husband. So I find now that I'm looking after her a lot more than I used to. So that obviously has an impact on my relationship with Diane, because she's in a position now where she's looking after her granddad, who's living in social care now at a home because of dementia. And her mum's living on her own, but she's finds it very difficult getting about because she's having a lot of problems with her back. So the responsibility that Di's taken on is to look after her granddad, who she sees every other day, really, and she brings him round to our house. So she has that side of it, whereas I'm impacted that I look after my mum. So we're both parenting such our parents. I know it sounds awful, but as you get older, you do. With either the ill health when they get older, or the non-ability to get out as much and do their own shopping. We do that as well for both of them. So it's not a negative thing. It's just natural progression in life. It'll probably end up where if I get dementia or I can't walk, stuff that my daughters will end up doing the same. You do that with your parents, Yeah. So there is that to come for you guys.
It's the circle of life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Your parents look after you, and then you look after them, and that's how it should be, I think.
Yeah.
So, John, you just mentioned all that there. So, what do you think is sort of motivating you to do that kind of thing, or is it simply just because they are your parents?
Well,
is it as simple as that?
Because it's your parents, you want to look after them. You want to look after their well-being. You don't want to see your parents ill or going into hospital. It's like anything, isn't it? You just want to see the best for them, really. My mum's at that age now, where she's like 77 now, and we were looking for a burial plot. That's just natural what you do when you get older. That's why I was out at the cemetery. I've recently lost my brother-in-law, which has affected the whole family. My sister's devastated, and she'll never get over it. He's died at 58. But obviously, my mum then relives what my sister's going through. It hits home again that obviously she lost her husband, and it does impact on the family as you get older. Yeah. And unfortunately, like I say, it's a circle of life. It'll happen to me, when I get older. My daughter started looking after me and Diane. Yeah. So it's not a negative. It's just like I say, it's progression in life, unfortunately.
That's it's. I wasn't expecting that, John, and it's heavy, but it's important that we speak about things like that. But with all that in mind, and obviously you're a man at 60 years old now, and you've achieved so much. is the thing? Are you still motivated, like to be better as a man?
God, yeah. I still,
what drives you?
In my head, I'm still 21. I still, when I play football, I run around like I'm like a spring chicken. I still want to, it's just my legs don't let me do it now. In my head, I can do it, but my legs won't. But I still want to be healthy, and I want to look healthy, and I try to eat right. I take time out on myself. I go to the gym, and when I go to the gym, I go in the sauna after I've done a full couple of hours session. And that's my chance to relax. I have 15 minutes there where I just sit in the sauna and I just chill. And I think, whatever's going on outside in the world, and you see everything on social media all the time, I just forget about it. That's my chill time. That's it. And the other time I'm in a chill zone, believe it or not, is when I'm playing drums. I look forward so much to the weekend of playing, in a band. And people say it's for the adulation. It's not. It's just the fact that you get a euphoria by something you enjoy doing, what you're passionate about. If I learn a new song and we play it well, I get a massive buzz out of it. If I've spent all week learning that song or 2 weeks learning a song, and then we go and play it well and we get an applause for it, that to me is a massive high. And I'll get a buzz out of that. It's not about money playing in bands, because you don't make money in playing in bands, because by the time you put petrol in, loading and unloading, you make like 30 quid or something like that. It's not about that. It's the fact that you're doing something you enjoy doing and you get applause from it, or people get up dancing. That gives you a high, gives you a buzz.
I think a couple of the things you've just mentioned, John, lead beautifully into the next sort of question and things that we want to speak about. Because you mentioned the chill time in the sauna and then playing drums.
Yeah, because I don't know if you're aware, John, but we have this thing where it's the Thriving 5 pillars, where it's basically 5 things or 5 words that we use to sort of describe how we would thrive the best way. And we're just going to basically go through them one by one with you.
Right.
And we're going to see how you incorporate these specific words into your life. So the first one is connect. Now, this can be connecting with people. It can be connecting with nature, connecting with anything around you. So usually it's friends, family, going outside, connecting with nature. That's how we deem that. So how would you think you'd incorporate that?
It's a difficult one, that, because I know you both outdoor guys, and I know you've been doing your wild camping and everything, which is I think it's fabulous. I like my own comforts now, and you guys
that's all right.
Going into water in freezing cold, and then But after I've watched you doing the videos, cooking your steaks. That is absolutely brilliant. I love stuff like that. But I do like my own comfort. I like being warm. No, connecting. It's a difficult one there. Connecting to me is seeing the enjoyment, I think, with me girls when we have family nights. That to me is a big thing, a big connect for me, because we go over to, say, Lauren's house, and I know it sounds something. We do like party games. We'll play double, or we'll play it, and if Ali's got a new game, we'll play that. We'll have something to eat. We'll have a brew, and then the enthusiasm's there. I feel like a kid again, and I am competitive, and that's been me all my life. But I actually, even though I'm competitive, I don't mind losing because I've enjoyed it. My connection is the family. I think my wife, my 2 daughters, my son-in-law, we have a massive connection to each other just because of that family environment. That to me is probably, I'd say, my biggest connection at the moment, definitely.
That's fantastic.
Good answer, that, John.
A great example of how to connect. In fact, we almost dedicated a full episode to playing board games, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Brilliant.
It's underrated. A board game is underrated.
Oh yes,
there should be a lot more.
Nobody will play Monopoly with her. That's the problem. Nobody will play Monopoly because I am competitive and got to win. Whereas I love a game. I don't know if you've heard of it, guys. Honestly, have a look it up. It's called Double. It's a simplistic game.
We know Double. Yeah.
I am Mr. Competitive in that, and my girls bought me my own Double. All the things I like are all on the Double cards, from food to band names to different things. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. They're all on the little things, and I never win. I'm absolutely garbage at playing it. Whereas the girls are fantastic. I always finish last, but I love playing it. If we ever get together, we'll have a game of Double, and you'll see why. But I would say connecting with definitely our family nights when we go over to Lauren and Ollie's, or they come to ours and we have a meal and then play games. That's my biggest connect, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome, John.
So the next one, John, this one's quite important because I harp on about diet and how important diet is, and you'll know this yourself. What goes in your body affects you, everything, your physical and mental being. So as for this is the fuel and recovery one. How do you feel about that? What do you think?
Well, I think obviously coming from a background of fitness, from being 16, running myself into the ground, doing marathons, half marathons, and being really fit, to see your body changing. I was like, when I joined the army, I was probably 10.5 stone, and now I'm 12. In fact, I weighed myself yesterday, 12.8 I am now. So I have a different fitness. I've got more muscular. I've bulked out a bit more because obviously I do weight training. The physical side of it, I haven't got the stamina that I used to have. But the competitive nature makes me go. Even though I play football, I can't walk in the morning because I run around that much. But the fuel and eating side is very important. I try to avoid. I don't have fizzy drinks. I don't eat crap. I don't eat crap food. I don't like pizzas and stuff like that. I have one microwave meal a week, which is on a Wednesday, which is Marks and Spencer's Arrabbiata, because I like it and it's very quick. Because I want to come home from work, quickly get changed, and I'm out the door to go and play football, and it's light enough on my stomach. But that's the only microwave meal I'll have. So, like I said, diet's a good cook. Chili con carnes, anything like that, spag bogs, all homemade. We had a roast chicken dinner tonight. Fresh food, vegetables, definitely. I never used. Billy Scott, your taste buds change as you get older. Di got me into mushrooms. I never used to like mushrooms, and I hated greens. Now I love broccoli, carrots, broad beans. Not so much cabbage, but that's just because it's boring. But everything like that, the veg stuff, which is good for you. We have fruit every day. I eat fruit every day, and I love fruit. But I tend to try and eat as much as I can regarding healthy food. Di's got me into eating berries, walnuts, different types of nuts now, almonds, all sorts. We have it with cereal and everything now. So I don't have greasy bacon all the time. That's just a luxury on a Sunday. I'll have a bacon butter. Or if I go out for walking, I'll take my little camp stove with me, and I'll actually make us bacon butties for the family. When we go out, I just get a stove out, fry up a bacon butter, because it's great on a walk. But yeah, eating healthy is a big thing, especially as you get older, because it's easy to put pounds on and how to get it off. Yeah. Even though
John, you're missing the most important food of all: eggs. Are you eating your eggs?
You know what? I'm not an avid egg eater.
You can lie to me if you want.
I love scrambled egg.
Yeah.
Boiled eggs. Yeah, maybe now and again. But I'm more of a cereal person. I like natural yogurts with fruits in them. And I love cereals with milk in them all. And that's what I love every day to take me off.
Get him told, Tommy. Can't be eating cereals.
We're gonna have to get you off the cereals, John.
Well, like I said, that could be the yogurts and nuts is a good thing, and I like them as well. I love stuff like that.
one thing we've prescribed all our listeners is a nice 4-egg scramble each day.
Every day.
At least 4 eggs a day.
4 eggs a day?
A 4-egg scramble.
Oh, I don't know
Minimum.
how I'll take to that, really. You know, it's not a cleansing food, is it? That's the problem with eggs.
Diane won't thank you.
No. But yeah, I can understand. But I do like scrambled eggs. I do, yeah.
Joking aside, the one thing that we do always say, John, is it's important to prioritise natural whole foods, and a lot of the stuff you've said there is the sort of stuff that we'd prescribe. Now, you've told us about the fuel. What about the recovery? I mean, you've already said that you enjoy the sauna. Is there anything else that you're doing to sort of help your body recover?
Well, believe it or not now, whereas I used to go to the gym and have like a 5-minute warm-up. Now, religiously, 15 to 20 minutes now, warm-up. Stretches, massively into stretching now. Just because my lower back's always been knackered for the last probably 20 years. So my warm-up now, in JD Sports Gym, there's an area where they do, obviously, the classes. I go in there now, put a mat down and warm up. Good 20 minutes, full stretches, everything from my neck right down. And I won't go into doing any work until I've done that. That's a religious thing with me. Same with football. Lads always laugh at me. Don't matter whether it's raining or not. I turn up, I pay my subs, and while they're all chatting, waiting inside, I go out and I'm running up and down one of the courts and stretching and warming up. Just helps recover.
I absolutely love. I love that, John, because with recovery, you always assume that it comes after, like the physical activity. But what you've said there, it's almost like a rather than a reactive recovery, it's proactive. Like you're preparing your body so you can recover better afterwards.
I find now I used to always get calf strains and thigh strains, but because the way your body gets as it gets older, you have to stretch a lot more. Certainly groin areas, thighs and calves, definitely you have to stretch them more now than I've ever done before. And I do massively warm up. And I always say to the lads, are you going out? No, it's too cold. I said, well, I'll be out there. I'll see you out there. And they do. They all laugh at me because I've got my top off and I'm warming up and down. By the time I get on the court, I'm usually knackered. But I don't pull muscles as much now. You know, and I find when I do any running now, certainly when I go round like the golf course, it's like a 3-mile run. If I don't do football, I'll go for a run always, and that's a religious thing now. If I miss football, I'll go for a run. I always warm down as well. I do walk probably for the last 200 yards. Whilst I'm walking, I'm loosening all my muscles, everything, and doing proper stretching. It's just that's what I learned when I was doing like the physical training side of it when I was in the army. I did PTI for a little while, so that stood me in good stead, really.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So the next pillar, John, is challenge, and you've basically said a lot about it before. Challenging yourself. I'm guessing that's going to be physically, isn't it?
Yourself, believe it or not, I look at lads who are my age at 60, and I said to myself, can they run round a football pitch, a 5-side pitch, a 6-side pitch, and do what I'm doing now? And 9 times out of 10 they can't, and it's not because it's just basically because they've not looked after themselves. I just want to be the best that I can health wise, and I think keeping fit for me is a big mental thing. It clears your mind, and it's a mental de-stressor. When I go to the gym, I'd never take my phone in with me, ever. That stays in my locker. I'd never touch my phone. I see loads of people in the gym all have got their phones on them. Some of them, fair enough, use it for music, but a lot of them are on the phone. How can you get away from stress or think about anything else other than what you're doing? I never, ever take my phone in with me. That stays in my locker, and I just concentrate on getting myself the best that I can. If it means doing extra repetitions on something or a weight extra, I'll do it just because I want to be better. I like my physique, so I want to keep it as best as I can. Fair enough. You love handles you can't. If it is difficult to get rid of when you get older, even if you're healthy, living a really good healthy lifestyle. If you're running all the time, you get to a certain age and you can't get rid of them. No matter, I've tried everything.
I'll tell you another thing, John, as well. I bet. Never mind people of your age. Not many people at all can sit behind a drum kit and play a couple of sets of music. That's obviously physically demanding as well, and it's a way that you challenge yourself.
Yeah, a lot of people say, "How do you keep that going?" And I said, "You know what? I think if your body's healthy, you can do it. Luckily, I've never had carpal tunnel syndromes, on my wrists or anything like that. Occasionally, get a bit of aching on my left calf. That's only because now I play the hi-hat a lot more. Tapping wise, you can see the hi-hat going to try and keep beats going. I do that a lot more than what I used to, only because I've tried to learn that and progress on my drums. I watch a hell of a lot of videos, YouTube videos, to try and make myself better. If I'm trying to learn a song, I'll watch loads of different ways of being played by drummers and try and emulate that. It's just a good thing. It's just a natural progression to want to get better. Even at 60, I'm learning new tricks on my drummers all the time, learning new stuff from other drummers, pitching bits what they're good at. Yeah.
Perfect example of challenge there, John, and that leads us really nicely onto the next of the thriving 5 pillars, which is play, which basically means how do you have fun? Are you incorporating play into your life?
Well, I would never say gym's fun.
Drumming.
Yeah, I would never say gym's fun. I just see that as a way of keeping fitness, and that's a good thing for me mentally. I love that side of it. It's 2 hours of just concentrating on that. Then I know I can go in the sauna, I can relax. That's that side of it. But I would say playing drums is a big part now. Still playing. I'm wanting to carry on playing. That's my. I know it sounds awful, but a lot of people don't have anything to do on a weekend. They finish work and that's it. They vegetate for 3 days. They'll watch football on telly and go for a pint. No, I as much as I love watching Latics, and I'll do it if I can, as much as I can. I'm not a season ticket holder anymore, and I haven't been for 2 years, just because the football's been rubbish to watch. It's not entertaining, so I don't get enjoyment out of it. But I love my rugby and I watch that whenever I can. But the drumming keeps me going. The drumming really does keep me going.
I think it's a beautiful. It's a beautiful example of how powerful playing music is, because I think me and Sam have spoken about this previously. Like, other than children, like people, the concept of playing and having fun seems lost on pretty much everyone. But when you play music,
it's a different buzz, isn't it? I mean, you know yourself. We've been playing in the band together, and it's enjoyable, isn't it? Learning a new song gives you a massive buzz, and when you've played it in front of an audience and you get feedback coming to you, whether it be applause, clapping, whistling, you think, I've done something really well there, and I've done it with my mates, and I've enjoyed it. And that's how I feel now. There's nothing worse than playing in a pub and you play a set really, really well and you get no feedback, nothing at all. Yeah. And you go, oh. And the next song, then you don't put the same effort into it. Whereas if you get people out on the dance floor after the first song, you think, wow, this is brilliant. There's an enthusiasm there to play better as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it now. This band are playing now. We play nearly every weekend, and we're fully booked up for next year now. There's not a date free for the whole of next year, so we must be doing something right. So, and I love doing that.
So just in contrast to play, kind of, John, the last pillar is contemplate, and you've already mentioned the sauna. That's your relaxing time. Would you say that's how you contemplate and think and chill out?
You know what? When I go into sauna and I switch off for 15 minutes, they're not clock watching or anything like that. You've got a little timer, which is like, sun going, the old
sun timer.
Yeah. In that 15 minutes, I just don't think of anything. I just switch off, totally switch off.
Yeah.
My body relaxes, and you're just thinking, oh, that sweat's coming, all that crap's coming out of my body. You know what I mean? You come out and you're soaking, and then I get in the cold shower because there's one of them cold showers at JD Sports. I get in there and I stick my head underneath and I think, wow, that's brilliant. I feel so refreshed. You know what I mean? And you're ready then for the rest of the day. And it takes you up to the weekend and I'm thinking, oh, either I'm playing Friday night or I'm playing Saturday. And you've got a buzz. That's what I still get a buzz out of. Not the packing up and taking down, but when you get there and you set up and you've done your sound check and you start playing that first song, you think, wow, this is brilliant. I love it. You know what I mean?
Good.
Oh, awesome, John. I really enjoyed listening to you. You tell us a little bit how you incorporate all of those into your life. It's brilliant, mate. So we still got, obviously, time is of the essence. We've not got all night, unfortunately. It's been great speaking with you, but a couple of quick fire questions for you now, John, before we get into some of the more fun segments. And this is something we want to start asking every guest that we have on the show, but what is your morning routine, if you have one? Like, what's a couple of things that you do every morning religiously that helps set you up for the day?
Oh, God. My routine every day now, it's because obviously I get up at 6:20 every day, every morning. And because I don't have a dog anymore, but I have a cat, and he's obviously, his routine now is when he sees me getting up, he gets up with me. I put the kettle on, I make a brew, no matter what weather conditions is, pouring down or anything. I put his lead on, which you see up at the handle on the door. I put his lead on and he's earnest because it's pitch black now, and he'd be off otherwise. He goes outside with his lead and he just likes being with me. He wants brushing, or he sits on top of the garage and he listens to the birds as it starts coming light. And that's my routine every day. And I love watching him. I don't know if you were, but obviously sometimes we get, where I live, we get peacocks. And obviously it's dark. I've not seen them as much now, but I used to love them coming in the garden in the morning. So I used to go and feed them every morning, the peacocks, and just to see that type of nature on your doorstep. 4 big, massive peacocks. There's only 2 of them left now, though. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. That sets me up for a day. I get it. It makes you feel good. Gives you a bit of a glow. You know, sat there with my brew in my back garden with my jacket on, with my cat, seeing 2 peacocks coming to me, wanting feeding. You know, taking all Di's nuts and berries. She hates it. But there you go. No, that sets me up in the morning, yeah. It's my little routine.
John,
my little routine with my cat.
It's one of the stranger morning routines.
Yeah, definitely. Putting your cat out for a walk,
feeding peacocks.
Yeah.
But in contrast to that, John, like, what about night time? What do you do before bed to get you nice and relaxed and ready for a good night's sleep?
Keep it clean, John.
Yeah. I think night time. I would say it used to be. I used to get a cup of tea and say a couple of Astor's Ortiz. I like them. I'd only have maximum of 2 at a time because they're obviously chocolate as well, so I don't eat as much now as I used to. But that used to relax me. But now I find if I have a drink after 9:30 at night, I have to get up at like 4:20 in the morning because you get older, your prostate doesn't work as well, so you need a pee all the time. And that just upsets your sleep pattern. I've never needed much sleep, so my time going to bed is usually around midnight every night. I watch a bit of television. I don't watch terrestrial TV. I don't generally watch TV programs or TV. I'd rather watch YouTube or a series. And I'm currently watching, what's it called? Slow Horses. I recommend that to anybody, by the way. Slow Horses, absolutely brilliant.
Gary Oldman.
An episode of that, just to unwind. And on weekends, because we don't go out much at night now, and obviously I do drumming on Saturdays. If it's a Friday night, and I'll have a nice glass of Zinfandel, and that's probably about it, really. But when I come home,
that's all right.
If I hadn't been talking to you two tonight, guys, if I hadn't been talking to you tonight, I'd have been showered in my pyjamas with dressing going on, and either watching YouTube or no dressing going on, and watching YouTube and drumming. I don't know if you can see there. That's my I have my routine with my kit here all the time. It's always out, and it's I practice as much as I can now because I just love going on it, and I'm learning new songs. Something will come on YouTube. I think, I'll have a go at that. And that's what I love doing. That's the relaxing thing for me at night. Yeah, I'll go on there.
Brilliant,
John.
I'm in my man cave.
John, what about reading? Do you read much?
Actually, I'm currently reading about 3 or 4 books at the moment. I just pick them up and I just read them and go on. Rugby League through the Thatcher years I'm currently reading, which is brilliant.
Nice.
And I love autobiographies. I just finished Ricky Gervais' autobiography, which is another good read as well.
Yeah,
love Ricky Gervais. I used to be, if I was on a plane with somebody on a long haul flight who I could pick to, it would always be the comedian Robin Williams, but obviously he's passed away now, but he's still living now. It'd be Ricky Gervais, definitely. I'd love to sit aside Ricky Gervais for a whole flight. I just think I love him to bits. I think he's brilliant. He's my type of humour as well. But yeah.
It's so honest, isn't it? In what everything he says is just bang on.
Yeah, he is. I don't think he bothers as well. It's not that he hasn't got a filter. He has got a filter and he thinks about things, complexities, but he's not bothered about offending because the way he sees it, a joke's a joke. It's people who take offence have not got the joke. That's the way he looks at it.
Yeah.
And if they're offended, then they shouldn't be listening to a comedian. Simple as that.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
John, we've got a couple of of the more fun segments now.
Fire round.
No,
sorry.
This is one that you'll like. It's something that we started only recently, over the past couple of episodes. But basically, we've created a music playlist.
Wow.
It's the Thrive Talkin, Make Training Great Again playlist, and we're going to add a song each week, and obviously you're our special guest on this episode, so we'd like you to nominate a song to include on the playlist, something that gets you pumped up.
Oh God, something to get you pumped up.
It's hard, isn't it, picking a song?
Do you know what? I have so many favourite songs. I love Kingsley Long, "Find Me," which is probably one of my favourite songs. And like I said, we've got a mutual Rival Sons type songs, what we all love. Pressure in Time, and up there, because I love Pressure in Time. It's a fantastic song. What we got? It'd be a choice between Pressure in Time and Don't You Forget About Me, Simple Minds. I honestly couldn't pick. So if you put both of them there, I'd be well happy. So yeah, Pressure in Time and Don't You Forget About Me, Simple Minds.
Why it's you, John, and we love you. We'll put 2 on.
I think I deserve that.
Done.
We'll add them both.
Yeah, get them on your song list. Yeah, them 2 would probably be right up there.
Consider it done.
Yeah, even though they're not my favourite songs, but they're definitely 2 of the best ones that I like. Yeah, you know what, guys, I've really enjoyed it.
Suggestions, John.
Really
Thank you.
And I know we've. What time is it now? Oh my God, we've been on. Was it an hour and a half near enough?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
And you've got to edit all this.
We've not finished yet, John.
All right, I was going to say, but yeah, I've really enjoyed it. And anytime you want me to pull up a sandbag and listen to my war stories, I can ream loads off. Delve into the memory of John Aspey.
We could create a new sort of series spin-off of Thrive Talking. It's story time with John Aspey.
Pull up a sandbag by John Aspey.
John, we've got a couple more points to get through, but this is sort of the last major question, the last deep question, if you like, and please keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
But what does it mean to be a great man?
Being honest with yourself, I think.
Yeah.
And being the best person that you can be and live life to the full. I know I'm trying to keep it short, but live life to the full, do the things that you want to do and don't regret not doing them. So, like I said, I know you mentioned it earlier on, I turned 16, I wanted on my bucket list to do a skydive. So I went out and did it. So
love that.
Yeah.
Just
Incredible.
do it. Just do it. Don't say you're going to do it. Just do it. Simple as that.
Love it, John.
Yeah, let's keep it
You're
short.
an inspiration, mate. It's exactly why we wanted you on the show. And moving on to our next segment, John, and this is a new one, and it's just for fun, but we call this the Last Supper segment. If you were to have your last meal before departing this world, what would you eat, and who would you share the meal with?
Oh, that's a question.
Jesus, that's actually very deep. That
is it him hard there?
It is, because I would pick one of. I'd have to pick one of Diane's meals. It'd probably be, because I love it so much, is Diane's spaghetti bolognese. Honestly,
I love that.
And that's not just saying that
Brilliant.
because she might listen to it. She probably not. I don't know if she'll listen to this podcast or not, but I love that. Would be my last meal. I'd pick that. Who to be with? I couldn't think of anybody better than being with my wife.
Beautiful, that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Mate.
It's a good one.
It's my best mate,
yeah.
so it'd have to be with her.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd say something similar. It'd definitely be a family member, because that's who's the nearest and dearest to you, isn't it?
Did you say you could only have one person, or was it? I wasn't sure what you said.
It's just for fun. So, yeah.
I'd like to say if it was just one person, it'd be
right.
Diane. But if it was other people, I'd probably have my girls as well. But if it's just one, it could be Diane.
What a great example, though, Sam, on the podcast. You know, he's spoken about his marriage of 36 years, and then for his last meal, he's chosen an home-cooked meal by his wife, and he's chosen to share it with his wife. Fantastic.
I know.
Fantastic. It's what it's all about, Johnny. It's what it's all about, mate.
Love that.
Yeah.
Question from me, John.
Well, Sam?
This movement we're trying to do is the whole point of this, the Making Men Great Again movement. But why do you think that's important in general, to make men great again?
I think a lot of it's down to social media has repressed a lot of people. Ever since
we agree with that.
Ever since COVID, societies, I think, has taken a backward step. You know, I've been lucky enough to live through the end of the 60s when I was only a kid, but the 70s and 80s, you know, your punk eras, and then obviously your new wave. There was a lot going on for men. You know, there was on that side it was the football hooligans and the change in that, but men were powerful then. You know, your punks and all that. When they come along, it was something totally different. Men were very powerful, but now we're not powerful anymore. Now it's social media moguls that seem to replace men. You know what I mean? I don't.
Become soft. We've become soft.
And that's social media, that because you're being repressed by social media and government, and it's awful to say that, but they have massively influenced the way the country's been shaped. It really has.
Yeah.
Everything is downtrodden.
I agree completely.
Everything's downtrodden. If you say anything, you're shouted down. You can't have an opinion anymore, and that's sad. Because I've lived through good times, and my dad, before that one, I say they went through the 50s, coming out of the hardship of the war on food tokens, and then getting to the joviality of 60s, where it was like everything was, you know, you see all these people at Glastonbury and taking tablets of ecstasy and all that. It was a different environment. Everybody was more jovial and more happy about, you know, life. And then suddenly now, social media every day, there's somebody being killed. There's no positive on television. Yeah. Everything's a negative spin. Everything's negative. There's a death every day, and we're told you can't do anything about it, because if you stop somebody on a train from stabbing somebody else, you'll get arrested for hitting that person who's got the knife. You could end up going to court and sent down. So it keeps you repressed. It keeps you down. You can't be the man you want to be. You can't be the hunter, to look after your family because you're frightened of the consequences. If I shielded my wife from somebody wielding a knife at me, and he just happens to, I hit him so hard that he falls over, bangs his head and kills him, I'd be done for murder. Even though he's trying to attack me and my wife, I'd be done for murder, and the chances are I'll go to prison. So that you kept down, because there's a major fear of that. So I would say social media and government have kept men down, good men down.
Yeah, I agree. So, John, just what kind of, if you were to give one piece of advice to everyone listening on how to be better generally, what do you think you'd say? I know I put you on the spot a bit there, but you've got good insight.
For me, I think it's just be the best person that you can be. Be the best person that you can be. Be positive. Don't walk around, mental anguish of like being negative all the time. Try to be upbeat. Think of things positive. If you're at work and you're repressed or you're down in the dumps, just think end of weekend, come the weekend or your time's off, do something positive. Go out for walks, get fresh air. Go into a pub and listen to a band and be enthusiastic. And if you can't play an instrument, just do something positive. That's what I would say. On that note,
solid. Solid advice.
Phenomenal, but simple, but solid advice. That John, brilliant, mate. And then the final thing, John, we have a little segment that we do each episode called Nuggets of Wisdom, and we usually share a quote. It can be your own quote, or it can be a famous quote that will impart some wisdom on the brethren, which are our listeners, as we call them. So,
I always remember my dad saying to me, "Never live to regret." Never live to regret. And I used to think, what does he mean by that? And he means, live your life best you can, do best for your family. And, if you make mistakes, you learn by them. Everybody makes mistakes in life, but never live to regret something and have it hanging over you. That's probably my quote.
There's a lot of power in that, John. I love it.
Anyway, I got what you were saying, John. Yeah, it's a good. I think them quotes that are the most simple are usually the best, aren't they? You just gotta, live with no regrets. Simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Love that it's come from your dad as well, John. That's it's extra special.
Let's say you'll be installing things into your kids, and you'll be saying to him, and he'll remember that. You know what I mean? Oh, my dad used to say that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary John Aspey. John, thanks for your time, mate.
You're legends to me. I've enjoyed it. It's great what you're doing.
Brilliant.
And I thank you for asking me on. I really do. And anytime you want me to come back, I'll be happy. I'll not be able to inspire anybody at all. I'm just I'm just ordinary. Just enjoy living life.
You'd be surprised, John. I think me and Sam have already said how much respect we've got for you and what an influence you've had on us. So I think the listeners will take a lot from what you've shared with us tonight. It's been a fantastic conversation. I've loved every minute of it. I thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, and you just want to say, lads, you've got some nice tricky questions there, which I didn't anticipate. So they're off the cuff what I've actually said. I've never rehearsed them or anything like that, so I didn't know what you was going to ask me.
Good.
So that's the best one.
Good.
It's better to get real and honest answers, John, and it's been great. Well, I suppose one final thing, John. For the listeners who who are interested in, they might want to listen to your music or keep track. Do you want to tell us where they can follow along?
If people still go on Facebook, I know a lot of social media is not on Facebook anymore now. it's other platforms, isn't it? But the band I play in is called Millhouse, as in the Simpsons character. But if you just type in Millhouse Band, you'll see a picture of me behind the drum kit and the other lads as well. And we have loads of videos on there. And if you like what you listen to, you just give us a follow. It just bumps our numbers up as well. So that'd be great. But as you say, other social platforms where Northern Sugar's still on there, still listen to our stuff, still have it on my USB in my car every day. Yeah. As I'm driving down the highway, hair blowing back in the breeze, as we say.
Man.
What's left of it?
Yeah, as you quoted, right? No, I've really enjoyed it, guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
No problem.
Hope to have you on again at some point, John, in the future.
That's all.
Yes.
So,
right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Good night from me.
Good night. God bless from me.
And good night. Thanks very much. Bye now.